All of us have been taught from a very early age that one of the things we need to watch out for in life is jealousy. As children, we're told that people only bully us because they're jealous of us for some reason. And we're also taught that we are wrong if we are jealous. And in Galatians chapter 5, verses 19 and 20, it comes right out and calls jealousy sinful. Paul says, the acts of the sinful nature are obvious: sexual immorality, impurity and debauchery, idolatry and witchcraft, hatred, discord, jealousy, fits of rage, and then the list continues from there. So Paul is saying here, not only is jealousy a sin, Paul says jealousy is obviously a sin. Okay, so we're on board with that, but some of the other passages in the Bible then get a little confusing when we understand jealousy in this light, because they describe our sinless God to also be a jealous God. Exodus chapter 20 verse 5 says, I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God. And this statement and this theme get repeated a lot more elsewhere in the Bible. So how does that work? How can jealousy be a sin, but God also be jealous? Is God committing a sin here? Well, no. Because the reality is, jealousy isn't necessarily a bad thing. Follow me on this. According to the Evangelical Dictionary of Theology, jealousy means an intense emotion that may be seen in a positive light as zeal or in a negative light as envy. It is a single-minded devotion that, when turned inward to oneself, produces hatred and envy of others, but when turned beyond oneself, produces intense zeal, leading to total selflessness. So biblically then, jealousy can mean either envy or zeal. There's a bad version and there's a good version too. So back to our question, when the Bible mentions God being jealous, which one do you think it means? Well, obviously it's talking about the good kind. It's not talking about envy, it's talking about zeal. And that's the nuance every single time the Bible mentions God as being jealous. But as we know, in the Bible, we do see people described as the bad kind of jealous. Job chapter 5 verse 2 says, For anger slays the foolish man, and jealousy kills the simple. We could look at other verses here too, but I don't think I need to bolster the man-jealous bad side of the argument too much. We inherently understand this part. So we've got this contrast in multiple definitions of the term: God's jealousy good, man's envious jealousy bad. But the question that we would naturally come to next is, as people, can we be jealous like God is? Can we experience the good kind? Well, the answer here is yes. In 2 Corinthians 11 verse 2, Paul says, I am jealous for you with a godly jealousy. So this is Paul, and this is the good kind of jealousy here, the godly kind of jealousy. And we know that because Paul comes right out and says it. And notice that he also says that he is jealous for them, not jealous of them. And these two aspects make all the difference in the world. And so here's a good place to put our two definitions theory of jealousy to the test. We have 2 Corinthians 11:2 that we just read, Paul expressing a godly jealousy, or the good kind. And in the Greek, the word for jealousy is the word zelo. And in 1 Corinthians 13:4, Paul says, love is patient, love is kind, it does not envy, it does not boast, it's not proud. Well, the English word for envy, that's translated from the Greek word, you guessed it, also zelo. This is the very same word jealousy from our other passage, but this time the Bible's talking about the bad kind. So if biblical jealousy can mean either good or bad, why do we primarily associate it with the bad? And why do we have to make videos to explain that it can also be good too? Well, I would guess that it's just because we're people. And while we're perfectly capable of experiencing the good kind of jealousy that Paul did, the type of jealousy that we typically encounter more often in the wild is the bad kind. And so while the Bible does tell us that God is a jealous God, we're probably used to spending more time encountering the bad kind of jealousy, or maybe we struggle with the bad kind of jealousy ourselves. That's just the nuance of the definition that most easily comes to mind. So jealousy can be bad and jealousy can also be good. And with this, like with everything else, we need to strive to be less like the sinners that we naturally are and work harder to be conformed more to the likeness of our God, who is perfect in every single way. I hope this explanation has been helpful to you.